And hello, good afternoon. And Kerry, you are very, very much welcome. And
Yeah,
yeah, thank you for taking the time to select to join us. And so I have a chat about team culture, leadership within, the performing arts. And ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm very happy to have Kerry here with us. And you will select. So first and foremost, Kerry, can you just introduce yourself, perhaps chat about the company, where you started, and where you are now?
yeah, of course. So I'm Kerry Kyriacos Michael.
Yep.
I'm a second generation economic migrant. My parents came over here from Cyprus.
Oh
This
wow.
was part
Okay.
of the British Empire up
Yeah.
until independence in the 60s. And I got into theatre when I was at school because I'm dyslexic and
All
had a really
right.
good English teacher who got me out of the English classes because I didn't enjoy reading and got me into
Okay.
drama. And that kind
Okay.
of started off my career working in theatre and in British theatre in particular. I'm probably most famous for running the Theatre of Stratford East, Theatre in East
Yeah.
London. I was the
Yeah.
artistic director there for 13
Yeah.
years. And
Wow.
I think our mantra was about um, believing that everyone had a story and everyone could be an artist. And then maybe people who didn't quite think that theatre was for them, giving them a platform and a voice and opportunity to tell their story. And
Right.
through that, we kind of put on lots and lots of new plays by lots of people who you wouldn't traditionally see in British theatre. And by
Right.
doing that, we were able to get lots and lots of new and diverse audiences into the theatre.
Excellent.
That was my kind of big job. And then I left that just before lockdown. And now I've taken over a small venue in Camden called Theatre Technis, which
Oh,
is a
fantastic.
new independent off-West End space, and we are kind of bringing it back to life. And we're
Brilliant.
creating a new community of independent artists.
Excellent. Wow. That's really good. So obviously London has always been very synonymous with creativity, with the arts, I mean, well, the UK in general, I mean, music and all that. Of course, we've got the really excellent kind of like background in terms of Shakespeare and all that, the usual suspects, so to speak, brilliant. So I believe that, you're one of the fundamental, obviously you'll enlighten me and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I always felt that one of the fundamental challenges. You were talking about bringing something back to life. It's the soft skills of culture and leadership as against the hard challenges of sort of like the business in terms of the funding, scaling, operational efficiency, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a kind of like a fine tune. It's a kind of like a, I don't know. It's how has that changed? Do you believe over the past, say, 10 years?
I think the arts and culture and creativity has always had a continuous dialogue with itself about how it
Right.
values itself. Because
Yeah.
there's how is something successful? It
Yeah.
might be successful because it's made money.
Right.
Um, it might be successful because it's got lots of critical acclaim.
Critical acclaim. Yeah.
And then the third thing is about innovation.
Right.
Is it a new voice? Is it a new way of doing things? Is it kind of breaking the mold about what is art? So those three things are constantly pushing for prime position in terms
Yeah.
of how you define something that's been successful. And
Yeah.
depending on who you're talking to and depending on what you're making, different things have more value.
Yeah.
I think there's always been an imperative in terms of critical success,
Yeah.
and you can value that in terms of how many stars you get or how many column inches you get in the newspapers.
Yeah.
You've got this thing of lots of arts in this country. The government art system, 5-star review,
Yeah.
a Rotten Tomatoes kind of percentage, all that kind of stuff. And then with the whole funding model, you know, lots of British theatre has been subsidised, but a lot of it is getting less subsidised, and the subsidy
Right.
having to kind of only works for a certain percentage. And
Right.
then you have to look at box office, and you
Yeah.
have to look at fundraising, and you have
Yeah.
to look at sponsorship. And that's becoming more and more prevalent over the last 10 years.
Right. Okay. Oh,
And,
fantastic.
and, and the third one is about the innovation. Of course,
Yeah.
over the last 20 years, it's been technology. You know, you've got a
Yeah.
whole wave of new people who have been innovative in the arts and are
Yeah.
making their own work because there's
Yeah.
no gatekeepers, whether it's
Yeah.
influencers or TikTok people or
Yeah.
people using AI. So that's the whole new kind of revolution in culture.
Oh, yeah,
I use
definitely.
technology.
Yeah. It's become a very kind of creative, what's, kind of a creative world now. A creator world, so to speak, where the
Yeah,
individual is sort of like out there, doing his own stuff, his or her own stuff. That's brilliant. I never forget when this sort of like dichotomy between something that's individual, something that's unique, and then something that's sort of like mass produced. I never forget, even in things like music, if you look at sort of like indie bands and everything like that, everybody's into some certain, they'll have cult status. As soon as they become, I don't know, they get onto top of the pops in those days, they're like, discarded. They're not so kind of valuable. So let's say that in the sort of like the high pressure of the project based world of performing arts. So what kind of challenges are there in sort of like maintaining a consistent positive team culture, where people are often moving between different productions, different projects. What are the sort of like the what would you say are some of your biggest challenges, or are the biggest challenges?
I think there are two
Yeah.
which we talk about kind of daily. One is
Yeah.
the lack of money. And what I mean by that is we're being squeezed. I mean, the cost of making something is getting more and more expensive.
Yeah.
Also, our remit is to be accessible to as many different kinds of audiences. So we hit a ceiling about how much we can charge on ticket prices.
Yeah.
And because all of us are struggling to find the money to make the work, we are
Yeah.
all going to the same usual suspects to get sponsorship and
Yeah.
fundraising. So there's kind of less resources to make the work, and it costs more to make the work because of cost of living and the ecology and economy we're in. That's the first one. And the second one is the challenge of AI, intellectual property,
Right.
and the challenges of taking this new thing, this new revolution, which is artificial intelligence, and how it
Yeah.
is changing some of the jobs in the sector.
Right.
So in the old days, you would have to have people physically writing out the music score,
Right.
transcribing it, and making it for different parts. Now a
Yeah.
machine can do that.
Right.
Machines can now reproduce images in a way that they couldn't do before. And the
Yeah.
machine now can also give you 10 jokes about something. The
Right.
challenge is that those 10 jokes have been mined from all the jokes that have been written around the world. But the
Right.
problem is that AI, big tech companies, and certain platforms are able to scrape every joke that's ever been written and
Yeah. Yeah.
so there's absolutely room for technology, and it's all about creativity of the prompt. But the examples you can take from other things that have existed. It's learning
Yeah.
from the work that people
Right.
that people have created. And
Right.
the problem with that is that there hasn't been the right remuneration for the people who actually made the work in the first place. So
Right.
that's where there's the conflict.
Right. Oh wow. Yeah. So it's sort of like bring out a lot of opportunities, but then also it's kind of it comes with its own severe challenges, I guess. So let's talk about when. So how do you see effective leadership and a strong team culture? Sorry, directly translating into, say, so like tangible operational efficiency in light of what you've been saying. How do you see that? Let's say in terms of how can how can that affect sort of like commercial, the commerce, this new dynamic? Yeah,
I think good leadership is about making everyone else around you be brilliant.
yeah,
That's kind of
right,
how I see it. I think
yeah,
in early parts of my career, I would employ people who I thought I could impose myself on. I
right,
would employ people where I stayed subconsciously the smartest person in the room.
right.
As you get older, what you realise is actually you want the best people around you who are
Yeah,
better than you at certain things. So
yeah, definitely.
you all grow as a collective.
Yeah,
And but it takes some confidence to not be the smartest person in the room and get
yeah,
smarter people working
yeah.
with you and for you. So that's where you want to be in a place of leadership, and and in terms of acknowledging the fact that you don't have the answers, but collectively you can find a solution. And I
Right.
think again, you just need to be brave to be able to kind of say, I don't know what the answer is, but collectively, let's
Let's
find.
find the answer. Yeah, yeah. That's
Um,
really good. Yeah,
and the other bit around that is being able to kind of the most powerful thing you can do is give up power and finding a way
right.
to kind of share this, the the
So like
power.
a flat leadership, so to
Well,
speak.
people want to be led. People want someone in charge.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
People want to know where they sit inside the mechanism, but
yeah,
you've also got to be able to kind of give up the power so someone else can lead. And again,
yeah.
you need to be confident in your own ability
Right.
to,
You have
to
to be
go take
self-secure. Yeah.
it in that sense.
And then the other thing with creativity that I've sort of come to understand is that, I mean, speaking to other people is that, they kind of like some of them agencies, one particular agency I spoke to, they sort of like they develop a kind of like a flat culture. They say it's a kind of like and it's based on the best idea goes through. Do you see what I mean? The most creative of what collectively people think that, wow, this is the best thing. This is the most innovative. This is the most appropriate at this particular point or whatever. So yeah, that's really interesting.
I
So let's
think
say, yeah,
the devil's in the detail because if you're in an agency and
yeah,
you want the best idea, then the best idea goes through.
right,
However, if you're in a collaborative process where you've got, for example, you're making a piece of work where you've got a number of different disciplines
yeah,
all
yeah,
helping tell us. So you're telling
to
a
come together,
story. You can tell
yeah,
that story through words, through music, through dance,
yeah,
through visuals. You can. There's 100 different ways of actually telling the story. You then need someone to kind of have some, and everyone's idea is a great idea, but someone needs to lead with a bigger vision, and
definitely,
then you
yeah,
need a slightly different kind of structure.
yeah. No, that's a very good observation. Yeah. So let's say that that going back to the sort of like the business and the culture of what the sort of like the arts are, the performing arts. So like if you were to double the size of your team or say another productions next year, what is the biggest operational or cultural challenge you would anticipate in scaling that?
I think. I think. Um, uh, what's the biggest challenge? Well, I think it's about getting everyone. It's the obvious stuff, isn't it? Getting everyone on board, everyone
Yeah,
sharing the vision, everyone understanding what it is we're doing. But also, if you have too many people in the room, you sometimes end up having no one taking responsibility,
right.
and you deflect the sense of purpose. Sometimes the most effective teams I've had have been slightly under resourced because
Right.
everyone is able to kind of understand,
Double.
what they need to do. When you
Yeah,
have teams that are so big, people disappear, and actually no one takes responsibility for it.
right. Wow.
So having the optimum amount of people is the right answer as opposed to always having more people.
Excellent. So within that scenario and maybe perhaps other sort of like similar scenarios, what would you say if you could sort of like perhaps, I don't know, wave a magic wand and instantly solve one bottleneck in operational workflow? Is it scheduling, communication, perhaps resource allocation? What would it be, and what would the impact be in terms of your creativity or your raison d'être?
I
Your
think
reason for being, or the thing that makes you do what you do. What would that impact be if once you identify what it is that you feel that would make a difference?
I think where we constantly are behind the curve is on comms,
Right.
is on comms, communication, marketing, PR. We are constantly. It's so noisy out there.
Yeah.
It is so complicated and and dense in terms of everyone's trying to talk to everyone.
Yeah.
And art, that's not our expertise. Our expertise is to make work. Our
Yeah.
expertise is not necessarily how we then connect that with our audience.
Right.
So how we do that, I think, is the biggest challenge we have. And whether that's the constant shift about where the energy is on which platforms.
Yeah.
In the old days, you would literally put posters and flyers and give them to people. How
Yeah.
you do
No.
it now is far
Totally
from
different. Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. So that's basically, yeah, just you've kind of like preempted my other thing. They say that in the arts, communication is everything. So you've sort of like spoken about where communication is so like really important. So, but like looking at sort of like budgets and resource allocation, where do you feel the current biggest gap is between where you have to spend money and where you want to spend money to truly invest in your team and your in where you want to be? What would you say that would be?
Give me the question again, please.
Yeah, so like when you look at your budget, okay, and perhaps your resource allocation, where do you feel the current biggest gap is between where you have to spend money and where you want to spend money to sort of like to truly invest in your team?
When you make a movie for $1 million,
Yeah,
they spend another $1 million in marketing.
right,
In theatre, we spend about 20% of the cost of making the show in
right,
marketing it.
right.
And I think it's somewhere around there where I would want to spend.
Less.
I'd want to spend more. I
Right.
need to spend more.
Okay. So,
Um,
well,
that makes sense. Yeah, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
we're enough on getting the word out there.
yeah. I think, yeah, I know it is a challenge, obviously, because obviously you want to market, but then at the same time, it would be best if you had like marketing that was a lot more effective
Yeah,
in terms of operational, so that
yeah.
you would spend less on the marketing, it would be more effective, and then that particular gap, you could sort of like push it back into some into whatever else that you feel that you might want to do. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Um, well, we've had a lot of, quite, very interesting discussions and, so let's say if your team culture and leadership were operating at 100% capacity, what is the most ambitious goal that your organization perhaps would want to reach right now? Is it, national fame or what? I don't know. Are there certain stages or certain places that you want to go to that you're pushing to go to?
Um, it doesn't quite work. Doesn't quite work for the kind of stuff
Right.
we do. Um, this, of course, we want to be full.
Yeah.
Of course, we want the stuff to be seen by as many people as possible, and we might want to transfer it. But that's
Yeah.
not kind of what we do. That's not
Okay.
why we do it. Because when someone, I do work in commercial business, but I'm working in a subsidised not-for-profit house. We're a charity, so
Yeah.
our remit is about making a deep connection with our audiences and our artists. Would be different if you were talking to me with a commercial hat on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm just putting that in. So we're talking about, marketing, communication, cost of inaction. So let's say like, okay, based on your experience, what is one piece of actionable advice that you would give for people who are coming into your space, who perhaps want to thrive in your space, and perhaps as you've seen the difference between, what it is then and what it is now, how they can adapt to what it is now to sort of like to change the circumstances.
I think I think I think I would be really clear about your super objective,
Yeah.
what exactly it is you want to do, because there'll be lots of half opportunities thrown your way, and there'll be lots of people asking you to collaborate, and you might be the kind of person who just wants to sort of hoover up all the half ideas,
Yeah.
and that might then just negate your trajectory. I think it's eyes on the prize in terms of the very specific thing about what it is you're why you came into this business in
Yeah.
particular.
Okay. Okay. All right. Brilliant. So I think we've had a quite a good discussions.